Hello, my lovelies. It's Nini, and you're watching my channel. Welcome back. With 2024 now in the rearview mirror, it's time to look back on the BL industry's cumulative contributions to the entertainment zeitgeist and rank which dramas made my list as the best BLs of the year. With more than 120 entries added to the ever-growing list of shows to choose from, narrowing down the top 10 was literally an accumulation of a year's worth of work requiring meticulous due diligence and quite a bit of arguing with myself. Before we get started, however, a disclaimer. All opinions expressed in this video are my own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the majority. The requirements for consideration for this list are based on when and where each show's start and end date falls. To be fair to this list, any show that aired in part or in full during 2024 qualifies and may be included. While some of these shows on the list may not have effectively ticked off every nuance I'm looking for, their overall production value, story, acting, and plot were impressive enough to receive a spot in this top 10. With that being said, if you like what I do here and you want to see more from me about the world of BL entertainment, as well as entertainment in general, gaming, and various other topics, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments below whether you agree with the list, what your favorite shows of 2024 were, and whether or not some of these shows should be ranked higher or even lower on the list. Number 10, My Stand-In. A very controversial show in many aspects, My Stand-In became one of the most heavily discussed BLs in 2024 because of the relationship dynamics between the main characters, Joe and Ming. Specifically, Ming's heavy-handed, toxic, and sometimes cruel treatment of Joe, juxtaposed against Joe's natural golden retriever energy and his nearly naive and passive reactions to all of Ming's shenanigans. My Stand-In's general story, based on second chances masked in the ever-growing soul-swapping / body-swapping tropes, tells a love story of two flawed characters overcoming their past together and their own issues to get to a better place. ... Eventually. Whether you agree or disagree that they should be together in the end or that Joe made the right decision in the first place is for you to decide. Starring Poom as Joe and Up of lovely writer fame as Ming, My Stand-In story, acting, character, plot, and overall emotional impact made this drama a worthwhile watch, and a solid entry into this list. Number 9, Jack and Joker. A relative latecomer in the BL schedule, yet highly anticipated, Jack and Joker stars Yin and War, and tells the story of a thief with a heart of gold who inadvertently harms a charming and kind-hearted, aspiring martial artist, and his attempts to right the wrong he caused by his own actions. After spending years in prison for a crime he did commit, Joke returns to the world with only one goal in mind: to earn Jack's forgiveness. However, this proves to be difficult as Joke's betrayal of Jack's trust has sent him into a downward spiral, into a life of servitude to a crime lord and loan shark. A perfect example of the enemies to lovers trope, Jack and Joker is a wild ride of action, suspense, frustration, irritation, and romance that hurts almost as much as it heals. Full of fight scenes, intrigue, a cavalcade of interesting side characters, and maliciously delicious villains, the show seamlessly blends all the great aspects of an action romance into a show that is both entertaining and exciting. Number 8, Last Twilight. Starring the popular pair of Jimmy and C, Last Twilight tells the story of Day, a talented badminton player who suffers from a severe eye condition that is slowly taking away his sight, and Mulk, a troubled college student who is drowning in debt and in need of a new job. After Mulk refuses to pity him at their first meeting, Day offers Mulk a new job as his caregiver, in hopes of proving to his family and to himself that he doesn't need someone to take care of him. Sparks fly, personalities clash, and lessons are learned, but in their time together the pair finally begin to understand one another and the deeply rooted pain each of them has been carrying since long before they met. With an interesting and thought-out plot, well-performed characters, and themes of understanding and empathy, Last Twilight offers up a refreshing look into the nuances of a relationship involving the differently abled and what difficulties they may face navigating both life and love in contemporary times. Aside from its potentially contentious and controversial ending, depending on your point of view, fans will find that Last Twilight gives all the feels you were expecting from a Jimmy C. BL, while also leaving plenty of room to think about the things you may not have thought before. For these reasons and many more, no top 10 list for 2024 would be complete without Last Twilight. Number 7, Spare Me Your Mercy. Starring JJ as Police Officer Chu and Tor as Dr. Khan. Spare Me Your Mercy tells the story of a slew of mysterious deaths involving terminally ill cancer patients in a small town. Transferring back to his hometown to look after his own terminally ill mother, Chu arrives just in time to find that she has suddenly passed away long before the doctors expected her to. After the funeral, Chu meets Dr. Khan, the local hospital's resident palliative care physician and the man in charge of his own mother's care. Days pass, and during that time, more of Dr. Khan's patients die, sparking an investigation by local police and Officer Chu, in hopes of finding what or who is behind it all. A mystery, suspense-filled romp with lots of romantic tension, Spare Me Your Mercy is a mature BL with even more mature themes, reflecting the typical police procedural crossed with a compelling medical drama. The show gives fans a little bit of everything while teasing the eventual romance between Chu and Khan. It offers up a story that is both compelling and heartbreaking, with an ending that will either leave you satisfied or very disappointing. Spare Me Your Mercy is a bittersweet entrant onto this list. Well worth the watch. Number 6. Monster Next Door. The quintessential comfort watch, Monster Next Door tells the story of the relationship between God, a popular extroverted college student, and Dio, his new introverted next-door neighbor. Not long after he moves in, God learns that his antics with his friends have inadvertently annoyed the quiet young man next door. Feeling guilty for being a nuisance and causing trouble, God reaches out to Dio to apologize, only to learn that he isn't too keen on interacting with a stranger. Over time, and through many conversations held on their adjoining balconies, God manages to befriend Dio and eventually earns his trust, leading him to catching feelings for the young man who he has never seen face to face. Monster Next Door is a show that gives its audience what it truly craves, a love story full of warm moments and gentle understanding. God shows Dio a side of himself that many do not get to see, a gentle, kind, patient, understanding man who genuinely wants to show that he cares, while Dio shows God part of his very private world that no one has ever seen. Monster Next Door is an excellent example of couple goals where each partner is honest, caring, loving, kind, and patient, no matter how long it takes, to ensure that they're both comfortable in the relationship and in their own skin. If you're looking for a show truly worth binge watching and love a story with an opposites attract trope that turns to destined love, Monster Next Door should be your very next watch. It is highly worth your time and a wonderful example of a BL done right. Number 5. Love Sea. Another of the most anticipated BLs of 2024, Love Sea is the second foray into the BL industry for Love in the Air's enigmatic pairing of Fort and Pete. It tells the story of Tongrok, a highly successful boy love author, now forced to take a vacation to find some inspiration. On the island, he meets Masamut, a local guide and jack-of-all-trades type who's very handsome and charismatic. Though Tongrok finds him incredibly insufferable and annoying, Masamut takes all of Tongrok's vitriol in stride, no matter how off-putting, and eventually the pair end up spending the night together. Their tryst sparks Tongrok's imagination, inspiring new racy ideas for his manuscript. Seeing the potential in his new association with Masamut, he hires the handsome man as his live-in lover and takes him back home. Completely a guilty pleasure, Love Sea is a show that brings together the chemistry of Fort and Pete in a way that just drives audiences to tune in again and again. The plot, however, is not as dramatic as many others on the list, but the interpersonal relationships between Tongrok and Masamut, the driving force behind Tongrok's aversion to creating any meaningful connections with his lovers, and Masamut's attempts to navigate his new lover's trauma, drives a plot of discovery and healing most would never expect. Well written with plenty of comedic moments and a plethora of high heat, Love Sea is just one of those shows where you can turn off your brain, binge watch, and enjoy without ever having to question your own decisions in life. Number 4. Pit Babe. The first live-action Alpha x Alpha Omegaverse BL in Thailand. Pit Babe stars media darlings Pavel and Pooh. It tells the story of a romance between Babe, a highly skilled and exceptional racer dubbed the King of the Hollows, and Charlie, an aspiring racer with an unknown past and a secretive connection to the titular Pit Babe. Hoping to convince Babe to lend him his car for practice, Charlie agrees to become Babe's newest bed partner in return for using his car, so long as he can prove himself by servicing all of Babe's needs well. At first, Babe is perfectly content in using Charlie for his own ends, But as time goes by, their relationship deepens to more than just their agreement. With kindness, attentiveness, and a willingness to grant Babe's every whim, Charlie slowly breaks down Babe's walls and helps him move past his harrowing and traumatic past to find love in the here and now. But that past, like a bad penny, rears its ugly head once more, and the story's true villain, a powerful magnate and a secret trafficker of special alphas, sets his sights on Babe in hopes of capturing and selling him to the highest bidder for procreational servitude. One of the few BLs on the list that benefits from my airing date parameters, Pit Babe is one of the industry's most famous and infamous shows. Megaverse, in of itself, is a subgenre of fiction that has divided numerous fan bases for years, sparking both fury and furious debate on whether or not it's a viable entrant into the genre of fiction as a whole. While I won't argue the merits or detriments, I will say that as a fan of BEL, I was highly excited to see Pit Babe. While the story itself had some expected flaws, the show gets extra points for breaking ground, no matter how lightly, for more Omegaverse adaptations in the future, and for giving fans the first real taste of what it could be like to have the genre more accepted in the mainstream. Overall, Thailand's first live-action foray into Omegaverse arguably resulted in a resounding success, becoming a testament to the fanbase's perseverance and the genre's staying power. If you haven't given Omegaverse a look, or have avoided it for a myriad of reasons, I would recommend giving Pit Babe a chance. You might just find it more intriguing and compelling, and more palatable than what the rumors make ABO stories out to be. Number 3, One D Good Day. Another highly anticipated BL, One D Good Day stars the very popular pairing of Great and In, and tells the story of One D, an orthopedic surgeon suffering from heartbreak after his crush of 8 years turns him down flat. Devastated and depressed, Wandi goes to the bar and drinks his sorrows away, only to end up having a one-night stand with a Muay Thai fighter named Yoryak. In the aftermath, D decides to shake up his life a bit and enters into a friends with benefits relationship with Yak. Not only finds some outlet for his own physical and emotional needs, but to stem the rumors swirling around the hospital about his rejection. While Yak is fine with the terms of their agreement, it becomes blatantly obvious that there's more to D than he expected, and feelings begin to develop on both sides, turning the pair from friends with benefits to something more, until eventually they come to the truest of understandings. What they have is much more than the arrangement that started it all. One Day Good Day is one of those shows that takes many of the typical BL tropes often found in the genre and gives them their own little spin. Great and N give stellar performances as Yoryak and D, with all the emotional depth and comedic delivery that the themes of the show are going for. It doesn't shy away from the high heat either, bringing to the fore multiple NC scenes that are not only beautifully shot, but add to the romance in a way that is not gratuitously unnecessary. If you're looking for a BL that has plenty of story and plenty of spice, One Day Good Day is an excellent choice in both aspects. I would highly recommend you give it a shot the next time you have a chance. You won't be disappointed. Number 2, Unknown. True to the spirit of a slow burn story that gets you right in the feels, Unknown is a perfect example of how to write an angsty story with so much heart. Unknown tells the story of Ji Yuan, an orphan who, by chance, is unceremoniously adopted off the street and raised by Wei Qian. Struggling in his own right after his parents' death, Wei Qian takes in Yuan and, along with his sister Gigi, does whatever he can to raise them and keep their heads above water. This leads Wei Qian to getting mixed up with gangsters in their early years together and living a dangerous life, just to look after his new brother and his beloved sister. Wei Qian's generosity and willingness to care for the stranger that is his new brother leads Yuan to form a deep bond with the man who saved his life. Over the years, that appreciation turns to brotherly love and eventually evolves into something much deeper than a familial bond. Now in love with Wei Qian, his confession falls from his lips while intoxicated, causing a conflict between them. Unable to accept Yuan's feelings, Wei Qian sends Yuan abroad, hoping that time and distance will help him move past what Wei Qian believes to be a childish infatuation. Upon returning years later, however, it becomes plain to see that the love that Yuan had for him has not faltered, and to make matters worse, he quickly realizes that the separation he had hoped that would curtail the budding feelings of Yuan has inadvertently sparked romantic feelings within himself. One of the best written BLs of 2024, Unknown is a show that I personally love. From start to finish, it conveys the story in a way that feels very profound, and you, as the audience member, easily gain the insight and nuances of their dynamics from the very first scene. You can see and feel the depth of Yuan's love for his brother and experience both the confusion and uncertainty of Wei Qian's internal conflict. The pain is real and visceral at times, leaving the audience solely invested in the future and hoping beyond hope that they will finally find some equilibrium between them, a place of acceptance and understanding. Overall, Unknown is just one of those shows that any fan of BL should make a concerted effort to see as soon as possible, especially if you are an enjoyer of the stepbrother/brother to lovers trope, as Unknown offers up a story without any of the moral conundrums often associated with such romance. If you have the time, you should really check it out. I am sure that you will thoroughly enjoy it. Number 1, See Your Love. The second BL on this list regarding the differently abled, See Your Love is a show that epitomizes a perfect example of how to write a story with true inclusivity and understanding in mind. It tells the story of Xiaopeng, a determined and meticulous young man living with the inabilities to hear and speak. Trained as a caregiver for those needing medical assistance, Xiaopeng is hired by Xishang, a ne'er-do-well heir recently injured during an attack. Unsure of who may be behind the attempt, Xishang uses his injury to justify his desire for freedom from his oppressive magnate father. Intending on capitalizing on the fact that Xiaopeng cannot overhear his conversation plans and therefore cannot spy on him or his family or his enemies, he sets off to disconnect himself from the life forced upon him. Xiaopeng, for his part, has no idea of the heir's reasons behind hiring him and simply does his job, while dealing with Xishang's growing interest in testing the boundaries of his care. Through their interactions, Xishang slowly becomes impressed by Xiaopeng's work ethic and increasingly finds himself fascinated by how Xiaopeng has seemingly managed to live a normal life given his inabilities. This curiosity sparks Xishang's inquisitive nature, prompting him to secretly teach himself sign language in hopes of being able to communicate better with his interesting and gentle caregiver. This willingness to understand him on a personal level impresses Xiaopeng to the point that his opinions of Xishang shifts, allowing the two to come to an unspoken understanding and build a bond that will slowly turn from appreciation and understanding to love. When I say that this show touched me deeper than any of the hundreds of BLs I have watched over the years, I want you to understand the magnitude of that statement, that I do not make such a claim lightly. See Your Love is a show that hits every point I could ever possibly want in a story involving characters like Xiaopeng. The level of authentic representation in this show, paired with its genuine intent to offer up a story that is both nuanced and thought-provoking, gives the audience a look into what great storytelling can be. If there is only one show on this list that you take the time to watch, this is hands down the one to choose. Truly the best of 2024. See Your Love is a testament to what authors, actors, and production companies can do when they put their heart and soul into a project. See Your Love is a show that truly deserves all the praise that it has rightfully earned, and is an excellent addition to any watch list.